Good morning.
Hey, yo, what's good with it, y'all? It's your boy, Mr. Wilson, and you are now tuned in to Wilson Block 100 Radio. And we got a very special guest on the block with us today, Ready Ron Beats. What's the latest and greatest?
What's happening, fam? How you doing? Good morning.
Good. Listen, man, I've been having this in the back of my head for a minute, you know what I mean? And now it's like, dang, I'm it's finally able to manifest it through consistency. And
I've been looking forward to actually sitting down with you, man. This is a blessing more than anything.
No doubt, absolutely.
So,
it's mutual, for sure.
No doubt.
All right, yeah, man. So listen, man, you know, stranger to the scene, man. You've been around, you know what I'm saying, the
for
block
a little bit.
More than a few times, you know what I mean?
A little bit.
Right. So, for our audience listening, can you just hit us with a quick background?
Oh shit, I am hip hop, period. There's nothing that anybody can say or tell me. Been there, did that.
Yeah.
Good and bad. Was still in New York at the earliest stages before it even made it out of New York. So,
Right, so you come from New York?
I come from Brooklyn, New York.
Okay, yeah, tell us about life growing up there.
It was pandemonium. Shit.
Right.
I just appreciated the fact that I grew up in such a multicultural environment that it taught you either to be cultured or an ignoramus, and I chose to be cultured, which means I opened, my heart and my mind up, knowing that I was actually growing up with first and second generation Americans. Ellis Island is the port that all immigrants came into this country through in New York before migrating to the rest of the country. And so I grew up with pretty much every single culture from around the world. Wow. It wasn't just a little of this or a little of that, or it was a lot of this and a lot of that.
Now, what part of Brooklyn?
Shit, you're Brooklynite, it really doesn't matter. Yeah. I was born at King County Hospital. I lived in Bedford-Stuyvesant, I lived in Flatbush, I lived in Crown Heights, I lived in Williamsburg and Greenpoint, East New York, Brownsville. I come from a tribe.
Yeah,
and so, my mother was the youngest of a very large family. And so my aunts and uncles were all over Brooklyn. So wherever you went in that neighborhood, you were at home.
Right.
Because my family was such a big family.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Right. I was born in the '90s, so I caught a little wind of that I still kind of expect to see that in the village today. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's a hard thing to swallow, that it doesn't exist like that.
It really
anymore.
is. It really is.
Where your neighbors knew your family.
Your neighbor would whoop you if they saw you cutting up. Something like
say something disrespectful, because you're gonna get it worse when you get home.
Right.
If you're visiting one friend on the block and they're cooking, you're actually gonna be having dinner with them. They will call your mother and say, "Hey, I'm cooking, and Ronnie is gonna be here." You know what I mean? That's the way I grew up, where it was a village that raised us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And those values are pretty much non-existent.
Yeah. Today.
Yeah, it's pretty much non-existent.
And so you grew up in New York until what age?
Period. Because no matter where I went and migrated to, I always ended up back. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. My mom passed away when I was about 13. Met family members that I didn't know existed, and they thought I was joking when I said I'll be coming to visit, because it was important for me to educate myself and to bridge that gap, because there were a lot of missing pieces, from my parents' past and history that I needed to know about. I'm the youngest of 5 kids, and my mom divorced her husband and met my father. My father divorced his wife and met my mother. I found I had other brothers and sisters around the country, and I made a pilgrimage to find them.
Oh, nice. And you found them?
I found them, yeah. I found them. A lot of family in Texas, a lot of family in California. I need to say all over the country.
Yeah.
I need to say all over the country, because I can't narrow it down to just one place.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Because, when your mother's like the youngest of like 14 kids, and she's the only one that had less than 10.
Yeah, you got some branches out there,
and so, I always, regardless of like even my past bad behavior, I always thought that if you can be cultured, then do it. Take advantage of it. learn as much as you can,
Right.
because no matter what this legal system attempts to do to you, the one thing they can't take away from you is your education, or knowledge.
Right.
And the more that you observe, not observe, but absorb, that makes you a better you.
Exactly.
And that's it.
Exactly.
You know,
The best investment we can make is in ourselves.
100%. 100%.
Exactly.
But yeah.
Yeah, man. So, let's talk about the music, okay? Because, I don't want to just, start off with Chinatown's Greatest Mystery. I kind of want to lead into that. You know what I mean?
I grew up, like I said before, hip hop was even out of New York. I had a brother that DJ'd, I had cousins that DJ'd, all that shit that y'all hear about on documentaries and stuff like that, about how people would take equipment out to the park and plug into the light. I lived that.
Right.
I lived that.
Heavy, right.
And so, there are a lot of people who do music that are a part of pop hop, but they aren't hip hop.
Right.
And pop hop is how with the corporate America, how they took over and just manipulated and controlled the direction of this music, because this isn't hip hop.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Even most of these reality TV shows, it has nothing to do with the culture. It's just chaos, mayhem, and pandemonium, and ignorance.
Yeah. So, in your opinion, at what age, or excuse me, what year was it that you kind of saw that, okay, hey, man, corporations are kind of running away with this thing, to where it really started to be noticeable?
In the 2000s, in the late 90s and in the late 90s and the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Because you started noticing that that it was becoming diluted.
Absolutely.
And what happened was Black Entertainment Television, BET, was no longer owned by black people.
That part.
And so the one show, now I don't take nothing away from Dr. Dre and Ed Lover from Yo MTV Raps or Fab Five Freddy, but that was the one show that shared hip hop from around the country, and even some cats from out of the country, which means it showed variety and diversity.
Right.
And the first show that, when BET was bought out, that was canceled, was The Basement.
Yeah, Big
The
Tig.
Basement would have artists come in, he would interview them, he would put them in the booth.
Man.
And these weren't just, auto-tune cats that are crossing R&B over. These are
real lyricists.
These are real lyricists.
Right, real street dudes.
And having interviews with them. And so it brought you a little closer, and you saw more of the human side other than the entertainment side.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Where nowadays, that's not the case.
Yeah.
It's all a gimmick now.
Right.
It's all a gimmick, and these poor bastards don't know that they're really selling their souls.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
You could be one of the hottest lyricists right now, one of the most technical lyricists, and have some of the deepest and most conscious writing, but they're not gonna fuck with you because you're not gimmicky. What they will do is they'll offer you a deal. You don't know any better.
Right.
They'll offer you a deal. They'll say, we'll give you a $5 million signing bonus, but you have to put this monkey suit on and stick this banana up your ass.
Right. Just
And that's just what it is.
and
That's
quite
what it
naturally
is.
they find somebody who's willing enough to do it.
Because some people don't know any better, because that's the opportunity that they have to get out of the situation they're in. Now,
Right.
mind you, like I said, the nail in the coffin was when BET was bought out and they got rid of the show The Basement.
Yeah.
Because like I said, you're not seeing all of these other artists. You're not getting in touch with these other artists. You're not seeing the differences of what the rest of the country is contributing to the culture.
Exactly.
So what's next for music or hip hop music? It was MTV2. And that was the one that they constantly played.
Right, music videos.
They played music videos, but it was controlled music videos.
Yeah.
Now, I got nothing against 2 Chainz or anything like that, but you weren't getting any more self-empowering. You weren't getting any more Dear Mamas or Where Is the Love or anything along the lines of any self-empowerment.
Yeah.
They pushed the agenda of self-destructive behavior.
Yeah, and you don't even hear the women singing like Toni Braxton used to sing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because that R&B stuff is dope. But I'm talking about even our hip hop artists, because the last great I'm not taking away from all these other artists,
Right.
but the last great female hip hop album to get credit was The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, because it talked about empowering women. It talked
Right.
about, and me and my significant other had a conversation the other night about the song WAP. And I take nothing away from anybody's creativity and hard work.
Yeah.
But I think it's really sad that only females and male artists of color are the only ones that have to go through gimmicky stuff, be self-destructive, be violent, in order to get heard or to get pushed. Because this is the
Yeah.
era of the drug addict, not the drug dealer.
Right,
So if you're
right.
not talking about lean, Molly, bottles, drinking, strip clubs, this, that,
Right.
anything that's any form of nothing
Corruption, dysfunction.
dysfunction,
Yeah.
then that's fine. Just like I said with these shows, like Love and Hip Hop,
Right.
that shit has nothing to do with the music.
It really does.
And the image that they're giving to our children,
It's
and
poison.
It's poison. The children, our children of color, nothing that they're doing is giving them any positive insight. It's teaching our women of color that their natural beauty isn't good enough. You have to be ignorant, illiterate. You got kids now wearing wigs when it was your mama's and your granny's wearing wigs. So your natural hair isn't good enough.
Exactly.
Bleaching your skin. Your natural coloration isn't good enough. Selling sex. Why is that the only way female artists
Yeah.
can get attention?
Right. Right.
And one of the top female, I'm not saying rappers, MCs.
Yeah.
MCs is not getting the love that she deserved, and that's
Right.
Rhapsody.
Mm.
You know, she did a song, I think it was Iman,
Uh-huh.
and it starts off within the first 4 bars that she did this without selling sex, and that's a skill.
That's heavy. That's heavy.
That's very heavy.
Yeah, and she's actually pretty dope.
She's
Like,
she's a part, man, listen. Yeah.
She's not a gimmick. I can
No,
say that.
no. But, you know, you have to be half dressed. You have to,
Right.
you have to
I mean,
be
look at Doja Cat.
You know, my thing is, like I said, I don't take anything away because sex sells.
Yeah.
But I think it's sad that it's only the women of color in this music genre that minorities, I don't know nothing about minority or majority.
I
I'll
mean,
say
look at
people
Taylor
of color.
Swift. Taylor Swift's not twerking like
People of color. Why do women and people of color have to? That has to be the narrative
Right.
in order for you to get attention in
Exactly.
the music industry.
I agree.
And it's a bad look on our children.
It is.
And it gives a bad impression to our kids. Mind you, once again, I don't take anything away from anybody's hard work because you've worked hard.
right.
But at some point, you know, you gotta really pay attention to the narratives.
Yeah.
You know, Georgia Ann Muldrow is a poet, a beat maker, an MC extraordinaire. And she did a joint called Pop Icons.
Uh-huh.
And in her verse, she said, I'm not trying to be in your business. I'm not trying to be in your business, but pay attention, kids are listening.
Heavy. Thank you. Like, even me, like, you know, I'm real conscious of that. I'm real
Right.
conscious of the music I play in my car. If I'm rolling down the street and a parent is walking with their kid, you know, I turn it down if I'm listening to something. You know, I'm
Right.
just mindful of things like that.
100%.
You know what I mean? So, that, and if you listen to my music, I'm all about, being
Right.
a positive role model and trying to, just doing our part.
Bingo.
So, you definitely peep gang, because pretty much when you talk about late 90s, 2000s, as far as seeing that corporate, right?
Right.
I was a kid. I was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? So, I didn't see it. I was part of the whole, I wouldn't say I was part of it, but, I didn't know no better.
You didn't know this was happening.
Exactly.
Just like people
Exactly.
weren't aware of the secret meeting to use hip hop as a way of.
Yeah, growing up to me, that was a myth. It was like almost just some rhetoric to me.
No, that was fact. On where they were going to try to use the music for the prison for profit
yeah,
whole
right,
scenario.
Right, the whole pipeline.
The whole pipeline.
Right.
The whole pipeline.
And so how did you, because at that point, were you doing music back then? I don't even know if I even should have asked that, but so you was like, okay, I'm gonna have to shift gears a little bit, or I'm gonna have to alter my strategy on how I'm gonna approach the game, because this is how they getting down. I already know what I'm doing, what I'm not gonna do, and I gotta move accordingly. I mean, you know,
there was no real strategy involved. It's like these cops are killing us. There's right and there's wrong. Period.
Yeah.
What I might perceive to be wrong, someone else, it might be right for them. But I'm not here to pass judgment on them. I know that, you know, I have a responsibility. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have a responsibility. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with some of the music today. A lot of it is, these cats are extremely talented. But why is it all one-dimensional? And why will they only allow that? Like you said, the corporates now basically own pretty much everything. Yeah. You know, like back then we had several, you know, major music stores and labels that were all minority owned, even though they were backed by major labels.
Right.
They were doing what they did. Now that's not the case.
Yeah.
Because this is why you don't get the variety.
Right.
You don't get the variety anymore, despite all the different subgenres that have been created by hip hop.
Yeah. It really kind of makes me just
created from hip hop.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase that.
It really just makes me just ignore the whole top 40. If it's top 40, then I'm kind of like, yeah, you know, sometimes it's hard to believe.
My thing is, I think it's best to pay attention, to educate yourself.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they say seeing is believing. And if you don't see it for yourself, you don't understand it.
Right.
And how do you understand it if you don't know?
Right. Well, see, top 40, you gonna hear top 40.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? So as far as like, you know, going to the chart and really fucking with those songs, I mean, you might have a hot song to make top 40. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I mean, niggas go number one.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
And you know, just for the record, I've been surprised. I checked out number one Billboard and was actually impressed with what was up there too. So, you know, let me fall back a little bit on that.
Right.
Because you know, top 40 for a reason. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But real quick, let's talk about how you got into music. What, you know what I'm saying? How you what you got started doing, and you know who you was working with.
Oh shit, I was always involved somehow, whether listening, respecting and enjoying.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whether because like it's a culture. Hip hop, real hip hop is a culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there were a lot of things that came with it. I can DJ. I was breakdancing. I did graffiti.
Oh, damn.
Do you know what I mean? And the art of mic stalking was just which was just a whole nother thing. Because in high school, you know, I got with some guys. They call themselves the Fun Four. Daquan, Easy Jeffsky, and Lashim. And we did what we did. We had fun. Nothing really jumped off from it, you know. But we were local heroes in our high school.
So what, y'all was battling cats or what?
They didn't want that problem. They didn't want that problem.
Hey, listen, man.
Because we weren't out to be idiots. Because back then, you know, we were doing more, you know, live performance routines.
Right. Okay.
Where
you said that's when y'all was breakdancing and all that.
We did live performance routines, and not just the dancing, but it was, you know, it was more fun filled and entertaining.
Yeah.
Regardless of, you know, my man, you know, Derek Payne, Daquan, sang like Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
So a lot of our stuff was vocally hook based, other than just rapping and chanting and stuff like that.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was a kind of like a well-rounded machine for us to be as young as we were.
Yeah.
And then my mother passed. And
you said you were 13.
Yeah, my mother passed, and I was wilding out. So, you know, my brother was going to school up at SUNY Purchase, which is in White Plains, New York. And he lived in Yonkers.
I heard Yonkers is where it's at.
Yonkers is wild as hell. But while he was still working and going to college, I was still traveling and going to school. And I had to walk past School Street Projects in order to get to the bus to get to, because everything I did, I did the opposite of the right thing.
Right.
I always went the dark path. Right. And that's how I met, you know, Earl Simmons.
Oh, okay.
That's and you know, I'm not even gonna touch the DMX thing. I'm not gonna touch that at all.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of him. I've got nothing bad to say, despite, you know, the 2 interviews that were done on BET and on VH1 that, you know, outright lied on me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, we talking about the dog.
Yeah. I did an interview with BET about, because they just came out with the Chronicles of Rough Riders.
Yeah.
They paid me for 2 pictures, and I made it very clear I do not, you know, want to be a part of any of that bullshit that happened with VH1, where they lied and said I was the one that introduced him to crack cocaine. And they gave me they did the full interview, and I told detailed information about, you know, how he was smoking angel dust back then and passed me a dust blunt that got me sick as fuck. But once again, he's one of the most talented artists, and I'm nothing but proud of him. You know, regardless of the trials and tribulations that he's going through, I'm still very proud of him. 100%. And I don't want nothing. I don't want nothing but to see people win. And I'm glad that he was blessed in the way that he was, despite all the chaos.
So what, you was producing music for him?
Nah.
That was your boy.
That was my boy. He was rapping.
So all right, so what's up with your boy Drag On? You know, Drag On was on the scene, or you know what I'm saying? Lil homie. No, that was long before. That was way before Rough Riders. Okay.
Because we were going from projects to projects, battling cats. Because back then
we talking about the early years.
Yeah, I mean back then he wasn't even really rapping. Because when I met him, he was battling some kids that were kind of tag teaming him. And I like the fact that even though he was outmatched, he wasn't giving up. Because he was beatboxing and rapping, but these guys were going in. Yeah. And so I walked over and I asked him, I said, yo, how long can you beat for? He said, man, I don't know. I said, when your man finish, I'm gonna light him up. Yeah. They don't
I'm gonna light him up. Look, oh, like that? That's how it went.
And so he started beating, I started rapping. And they're like, nah, where the fuck you come from? I'm like, nah, I'm with him. Hold on, bro. They were like, okay, you can get it too.
Oh, yeah?
So mind you, I'm from the era of 60 bars and better.
Right, okay, yeah.
Not just, give me a hot 16.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so these cats were doing bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And going back and forth.
Right.
And so once I started, they were okay. I said, bro, I'm not done. No, that's not one rhyme. I said, bro, I'm not done yet. Let me finish.
Right.
So it got to the point where they were like, oh, fuck this.
All off the top.
Mostly off the top, writtens. Yeah. But mostly off the top, some writtens put in there. Because sometimes you have to have what you call a reset.
Yeah.
Certain lines that are a reset for you that you know that'll put you back in a certain place.
Right. I mean, so it was freestyle as far as how you was pertaining to them, but you used your writtens to kind of.
There was some writtens in between to keep me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
but look, I heard you freestyle, man. Like you one of the best. So if not the best, I'm just gonna put that on the record.
Nah, I'm not. Look. I'm a member of an eclectic group. I'm not one of the best.
No doubt.
I'm one of the members. And
members got to pull their weight.
Right, of an eclectic group, man. And there's so many talented people out there that I'm just so blessed to have shared moments with.
Yeah.
But I rocked with him for a minute, but we were both knuckleheads. And so got in trouble, got an option, even though, my brother had gotten me into a program called Upward Bound, because my grades were never bad. I just rebelled against the world.
Yeah.
And so I was given a choice, whether I can go to jail or go to Job Corps. Now, mind you, regardless of my brother getting me hooked up into the Upward Bound program, which you go to a college and get your
credits,
your high school and your college credits.
Yeah.
But I screwed all of that up.
Yeah. Always chose a dark path.
Yeah.
It's just knucklehead shit.
Yeah. Ended up in Buffalo.
Okay.
I finished that program. Ended up, I messed with a few people there, didn't rap as much. Because at that point, I was like, I still got to live life on life's terms.
Yeah.
Ended up crossing the border. Spent a lot of time in Canada.
Oh, okay.
A lot of time.
Yeah.
London, Ontario, Canada. Rapped there a little bit. And it wasn't something that I took very seriously, but it was being part of the music itself that was most important to me.
Right.
You know, because in the process, you know, I didn't just rap. I learned how to make beats.
Yeah.
I learned how to make beats too.
Right.
I learned how to make beats
And
too.
what you make beats on?
Oh my God, what didn't I?
What did you start on?
DOD Foot Peddler
Oh, damn.
sampler.
So you was actually using hardware.
DOD Foot Pedal sampler, a Yamaha 4-track, and a whole lot of samples. I would sample the drum loops and stuff like that. And then I got my hands on an Alesis HR16 drum machine and learned how to use the drum machine with samples. And the more that I surrounded myself around people, the more that I learned. I asked questions. Just like I said about growing up with first and second generation Americans and being cultured, I learned things. So I asked questions. And, you know, progression, I got a little better and a little better and a little better and a little better. And that's what happens. You find your groove.
Right.
You find
And
your
so
groove.
you were already rapping before that?
Yeah.
Okay, so at what point did you want to take or want to be a producer over like pursuing a career as an artist?
I wanted to be all around educated,
Yeah.
whether it be beat making, engineering, the mic, live performances. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because even now, you know, I have my own professional PA now. You get what I'm saying? And with enough power to do a small thing or something big enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to be well-rounded as far as the music itself. Because if you're not truly a part of it, you're just faking moves.
Yeah.
You're just faking moves.
Yeah.
You know? And like I said, I am hip-hop and I love it.
Yeah, no doubt. So what inspired your journey out of New York? What brought you to Seattle?
Family. I told you.
Oh, right.
I was making
right.
pilgrimages. You know, I was making pilgrimages and finding family members and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But at that time, you know, it was really a dark time with me, you know, and so I ended up coming here. And I left, but I kept coming back.
Yeah.
And I left, and I came back.
Right.
And each visit became longer. Because like I said, that was during a dark time in my life. That was during the days that, you know, I was drinking real crazy and getting high like a madman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so everything that I did was built around drinking and getting high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, yeah.
Yeah. We go through that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? But, you know, it is good to see that you got a hold on that.
Oh, my God.
You know what I mean? Because
coming up on 14 years sober.
Congratulations. Seriously,
Yeah.
though,
No doubt.
man. You know
No
what I mean?
doubt.
Because, you know, let us smoke some weed every day. And, you know, I am struggling with it. But, you know,
Yeah.
I am mindful of it, though.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? And I do know it is something that is going to have to be tackled at some point. You know what I mean?
No doubt. No
So,
doubt.
but you know, so let's talk about some music projects. You know what I'm saying? You know, what are some projects you've worked on? You know, who are some artists? You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not the name calling type. Because I
Okay.
always thought when guys jump out the window or jump out the plane without a parachute like that, I think that is just being boastful
Yeah.
and not being thankful that you had the opportunity to share a moment with somebody else talented. And I've done...
And letting that be that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because I was interviewed a couple of times,
Yeah.
and I told them, that's not really what it is for me. What it is it was more of me being blessed with having to share that moment with that talented individual, whether it be the Sword School project with Julie C. and Santonio Bandanas, whether,
Big
you
shout
know, doing Mojo Barnes' project or Soul the Interrogator or Jules Cypher or all the other singles that I've put out or have created with other people. I'm thankful that we had the opportunity to share that moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's a long list.
Right.
There's a
right,
long
right.
list of beats that I didn't just gave out and people have recorded on, you know, RLS from Black Magic Noise, Molecule, Dead Mics. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Mario Castellini,
Yeah.
Peace and Red Velvet, Ill Writers Guild, like I said, the list is
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Right.
The list is unbelievable.
So-
and some projects that I'm really not proud of. So you know,
Right. So let me ask you, what is like, you know, your creative process when you producing beats, right? Like, where do you draw inspiration from to kind of get your lead in?
whatever I feel,
Is there any particular?
whatever I feel,
Do you start? You don't. So you
Whatever I
start
feel.
wherever, however.
Whatever
you might
I
start
feel.
with a drum kit. You might start with
whatever I feel, whatever I feel at that moment.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll find the right sample. Do you know what I mean?
Right,
Sometimes
right.
you'll watch the right movie.
Right,
Sometimes you'll be
right.
in an elevator and you'll hear something. At some point, you know, you'll be at a since I don't drink or get high, so you know whether I'm at a spot where they play a club, where they playing music, whether it be a movie I seen.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Whatever I'm feeling, if I run across the right sample, it's what I do on top of the sample.
Yeah.
You know, because my better half will tell me that she'll know what mood I'm in because the beats will be either bright or they'll be dark.
Right.
Because a lot of times, you know, when everything was set up at home, you know, she used to make a big deal, you know, and she would come in and says, okay, what did you do today? And I'll go, okay. And I'll play it and she'll go, oh, what happened? And I'm like, what do you mean? She said, well, something's got you feeling like this right now.
Right. Oh, she would read you based off of the temperature of the music.
100%.
Oh,
Something's
wow.
got you feeling, oh, you're in a good mood today.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's a pretty happy melody you got going on there.
Uh.
And I just always told her, I said, well, you know, being one-dimensional never, ever gets you anywhere. It's like speeding to a red light.
Yeah, right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's a good
You're
way
getting
to put
nowhere
it.
real fast.
Right,
So
right.
if I don't remain teachable and open-minded,
Yeah.
then I'm just gonna be like the rest of these idiots that are either like a hamster in a wheel going nowhere real fast, or like a dog chasing a parked car.
Yeah.
It just makes no sense.
Right. All right, so I want to shift gears real quick. You know what I'm saying? And you know, as long as you open to talking about it, you know what I mean. I really want to talk about the whole overcoming aspect. You know what I mean? And that you know you have been to prison.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And you know, I know there's a lot of people that have been to prison. I mean, I didn't seen everything but that.
Got you.
So, you know, I just want to talk about, you know, what was the journey like for you? You know what I'm saying? Both challenges and rewards.
I didn't realize I was a part of the prison pipeline. I wasn't aware how unfairly things were for people of color in comparison to, you know, other people. They will do anything they can, whether innocent or not, to
Right.
get you to take a plea deal or anything.
Right.
Because knowing that's the direction, that'll change the direction of where your life went. You know, because toward the very end, I beat a case. I just didn't know any better because in the grips of alcoholism and drug addiction, all I wanted to do was take whatever's easiest and get out,
Wow.
not realizing I should have just fought. It's no place for anybody to be.
Right.
It's really not.
Yeah.
For those who actually, you know, commit horrible crimes against humanity, that's the place for them. But for
Yeah.
those who make humanly mistakes, you know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
some that make choices, and there's some that humanly make mistakes.
Right. With the
You know,
petty stuff.
yeah, unbelievable. You know, especially the so-called drug war that was supposedly implemented by the government because it was more drug addicts that were getting arrested in these big prison sentences than drug dealers. I mean, and you know, there were several times where I was caught with paraphernalia and was charged with possession of the drug, where I would, you know,
Wow.
get in front of the judge and say, Your Honor, this is nonsense. This is nonsense. I was never in possession of. I was in possession of the tools in order to use.
Right. Paraphernalia. Right.
You know what I mean? And so
Like they lock you up for crystal meth, but they'll sell you the oil burner.
100%. So, you know, I didn't got caught with pipes and all types of stuff. And now, mind you, they would test it. And of course, it would come back positive for the use of. Not realizing at some point I said enough was enough, and I started fighting for myself. And that's how I beat, you know, one of the last cases.
You started to study up, like, hold on.
Well, no, I started to have enough because I started realizing that, you know, the same cops were picking me up for the same shit and charging me with the same shit. I was never in possession of these drugs.
Right.
I was in possession of the paraphernalia in order to use it. And at some point, I kept getting in front of the same judge, and the judge would say, hey, let me guess, a pipe, right? I said, yep, because 0.01 gram of cocaine is nothing.
Right. It's nothing at all.
It's nothing.
Right.
And so, and all of a sudden, the one time they picked me up, I know I ain't got no drugs or no pipe on me. All of a sudden, I'm in possession of 2 grams of cocaine. Mind you, I didn't have nothing on me.
So they planted it.
Pretty much.
Wow. And was that NYPD?
That was Seattle PD.
Oh, hell, stop it. That's
Seattle
wild.
PD.
That's wild.
Because at the time, I was still, you know, not grounded. I was still homeless.
Yeah.
I was still homeless. And my life direction was going nowhere. So at some point, I had enough.
Yeah.
I had enough.
Well, man, I'm thankful you reached that point, though.
Yeah.
Because some of us, man, you know, some of us kind of just...
You know, I'm with a program called the Beyond Project. And I've always volunteered and given back to the community because that's a part of my recovery.
Yeah.
And we go into facilities. Everybody knows I'm a barber by trade. I still got my license and stuff.
Oh, nice.
And with the Beyond Project, I go into facilities and cut hair for the homeless, so the less fortunate.
Nice. Yeah.
And, you know, my biggest project is really New Horizons for homeless teens. But originally it was me and B the barber. Like we used to go down on Christmas and Thanksgiving in his mobile barbershop and cut hair right in Pioneer Square.
Oh, yeah?
For the homeless
What
on Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Huh. A mobile barber. I didn't know you was a barber. Yeah, well, I'm out there, you know what I'm saying? Come holler at you about
Get
that,
at me.
man. You know what I mean? Straight up. Man, that's what's up. So I mean, you know, but you fought it and you ended up beating it.
Yeah, I ended up beating it.
How did that make you feel? I know you had to feel like, you know, Rocky at the top of the stairs or something. You know what I mean?
It made me feel like I needed to do something different.
You felt the
It
need
was time
for change.
Yeah, it was
for
time
sure.
to do something different.
Yeah.
It was time to do something different.
You started
You know.
to actually live up to your potential.
Well, I was still on DOC from some of the other stuff.
Yeah.
They still released me. They released me. But there was a DOC hold, so even though I was in court, they was taking us back out to Monroe Camp. And I ran into one of the big dope boys in Chinatown. And it was the one time he finally got caught on a DOC violation after 3 years, his first one. He was only going to do like 14 days, but he had nothing. He was Vietnamese, half black, half Vietnamese. They're GI babies, and black long. And he was like, "Fuck New York, you know, I come up in here and I don't have nothing, and now everybody want to act funny." And I'm like, "Nah," because my books were good.
Yeah.
I had a little money.
You was
when I
good.
went
You
in.
was on.
So I sent him a pillowcase or two of you know, noodles, rice, and stuff like that. So he put it out there that when I get out, to find him. And so I got out, because we all know the dates when we getting out, and everybody and their mama was trying to get a reward from bringing me along.
Yeah.
I ended up in Chinatown's jungle for almost 3 days.
Chinatown's jungle.
The jungle.
Was that here?
Yeah, here.
Oh, this Chinatown.
This Chinatown.
Oh, wow.
In the jungle, when it wasn't all about just it being a homeless enclosure, when they were actually cooking kilos of cocaine up in that bitch.
Oh, wow.
And he put me in a tent and told me I wanted for nothing because I took care of him. And because that the Vietnamese that he run with felt more privied. They thought that they had something coming only because.
Yeah. But no.
And so at one point, man, I got up out of there. And I'm like, yo, I can't do this. So I walked out, and the main entrance was right there on Dearborn. And I looked over at Goodwill. I looked over at the old Goodwill Learning Center where the number 42 bus used to stop at. I looked at Goodwill. I looked to the right, and on Rainier and Dearborn, the number 42 bus was making the left turn. I ran across the street and jumped off the bus, and I never looked back.
Wow.
I never looked back.
And so, since you've been out of jail, you know what I mean, what have been some, you know, notable accomplishments, you know what I mean?
From the jungle to a shelter, from the shelter to becoming a part of Seattle Housing and Resource Efforts, I became their outreach coordinator.
Nice.
I worked with them, oversaw the same shelters that I was a resident.
Heavy.
That I was a resident. Sat down with the city council for budgeting and stuff like that, as far as, you know, what programs deserve the funding and stuff like that. Volunteered and signed up and originally volunteered through Compass Alliance.
Okay.
On 3rd and Virginia, they used to have a drop-in center, a homeless drop-in center and resource center. So even though I went in and used the resources, I went in a different capacity.
Right.
Because I learned a long time ago, doing the same shit over and over again, expecting different results. So if you approach things differently, people will see you taking yourself seriously. So I went, signed up as a volunteer also, and so was going in twice a week for 2 hours a day.
Nice.
Cutting hair while still homeless. I was still in the shelters.
So you had the barber license before you even went to?
I didn't have my license then.
Okay.
I didn't have my
but
license.
You had the skills.
I had the skills.
Right.
I had a license before, but what they do is they, when you go from state to state, it varies.
Okay.
So I came with it. I had an expired license. So they told me I had to take 1,500 in order to get my license. I had to take a 1,500-hour course.
Yeah, 1,500 hours, right.
Right, course, you know, to brush up on my skills and then take the state test.
Right.
And the staff members of the 3rd Avenue Family Center linked me to the people across the street with the YWCA and sponsored me, and they paid for me to go take the course.
Oh, wow.
And my license test.
Oh, no,
and
man, that's cool.
Because they saw me taking my life seriously.
Right. People want to help people that's helping themselves, man. Just like that, man. Just like that.
And so that was the process. Once I started taking myself seriously, people saw that I was sincere. It wasn't a hustle.
Right.
Just like this hip hop, like this music. I'm sincere about it. So people saw that I was sincere about the direction change in my life.
Right.
And so I take 2 steps, they took a step with me.
Right.
I took 3 steps, they took a step with me.
Yeah.
They put, you know, me in positions to better myself, but it was ultimately up to me.
Exactly.
And all I did was the follow through.
Exactly. You know, I've seen people get on GR and never look back.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's all they needed was that little leg up. And, and they followed through on their end.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
100%.
And then, you know, that's why, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we all got to be accountable for ourselves.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? We all got our own lives to live.
100%. You could either be a part of the solution or you're the fucking problem.
Right.
I mean, it's just that.
You got to be the solution or you are the problem.
You're the
you
problem.
know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just that simple, man. Look, man, I can't see you turning this down, but I'm going to have to ask for a freestyle from you, man. You know what I'm saying? They say we got that on the show, you know what I mean? Because, I mean, you really got it.
Don't put me in that position.
Come on, man. Just give me, like, you know, 8 bars. 8 bars or something, man.
Shit.
Or just give me something. You give me a 16.
No. Chinatown's greatest mystery is back in the spot. Used to do a lot of dirt in this park on this block. People used to say, ready, Ron, oh please. Used to run with the Koreans, Chinese, and Vietnamese. Sick with the gift, tight with the vocals. From New York to Seattle, now I'm in with the locals. Ready, Ron, from the impossibles. I'm sick with the gift, but when it comes to my money, I don't want to hear shit.
Let's go. Ready, Ron Beats. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying, bro. Hey, man, it's been great having you on the Wilson Block. I mean, actually, hold on. I do want to ask you one more question, man. Just, on a community level, you know what I'm saying? You've been around for a minute. And I like to think that you got, a fair idea of what stupidity is and what's ethical, right? And so, from in your own words, what would you say are some solutions that we can focus on as a community to kind of, bridge some of the injustices going on?
I think the first thing you need to do is educate yourself and take a look at what the big picture is. You have people of color that are complaining about the music scene here and how it's unfair. Yeah. And I agree with you 100%. But you have to take a look at the big picture. The city of Seattle is only 7% black. And you might be 100% right, but they will find millions of ways to try to prove you not being right, even if it's fabricated. Right. The odds are already quadruply stacked against you. Right. And the biggest thing you can do and the most important thing that you can do is remove the horse blinders and take a look at the big picture. Because once you see that and you see how the pieces are being moved on the chessboard, then you'll understand what's really going on around you. Right. You can't go in with expectations not knowing. Right. You have to know these things. Right. This is why it's very important. This is why it's very, 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 very important to understand all of this information. It's very important. Yeah. You need to know this. And that's whether it be educationally, music, community-based. Right. You have to understand what's going on around you because the system is already set up indirectly for failure. Against you, right. For failure. Right. Look at the fight that Nikita's putting out there. Yeah. They come up with $300 million for a youth jail. $300 million for a youth, $300 million to build a youth jail, but they pulled the funding from all of these educational programs and apprenticeship programs.
And that's really what happened? Listen, they've been building this since I've been here.
$300 million to build a youth jail. Why are teachers fighting to get paid correctly? Those are the real all-stars. I take nothing away from the athletes or the people that are in the entertainment business. But the true superstars are the teachers who are teaching our children. So if you take that from them, right, you take that choice from them, you take all of these educational programs away from them, then with the music, you're spoon-feeding our children poison.
Exactly.
You're spoon-feeding us poison.
Our communities lose.
Poison, whether it be through music and through entertainment, because like I said in the beginning of the interview, they are teaching our kids of color, and especially our girls. It's already bad enough that we can be our own worst enemy, as far as black on black crime, because instead of us working together, we're too busy trying to outdo each other instead of grow together. But it's teaching our children, our female children of color, that this is what you have to do to be accepted, which is wrong. Which is wrong. And that's what the big picture is paying attention, educating yourself, and knowing. And knowing. And there's some names that I may not have mentioned, whether it be Mama Nikki or Rel Be Free or the Youth Speaks program.
Shout-outs was next, so go ahead and drop.
You know what I'm saying? The Youth Speaks program, Creative Justice. And these are all programs that are alternatives. And these are programs that are
in the community.
100%. I think that we're at a pivotal point right now where it's not even about us. It's about what's the next step for our children.
Right.
Because, like I said, the black community here is only 7%. So unless you work as a unit and stop complaining and put action into doing something different, then nothing's going to change.
Right.
You know, all the protesting in the world, all the marching in the world gets attention. But at the end of the day, what we need is change. We need change. We need to take responsibility and accountability. That's why when I'm with the youngsters, I politic with them.
Yeah.
Because what's missing is the community-based educational system where we learned from people in our community, where you knew the OG had something knowledgeable to say, and he passed down, knowledge and game, and that's really crazy, because I'm so thankful that I was lucky enough for the Muslim community back in Brooklyn to teach real history.
Right.
Because even in these history books, they will not tell you that most of the largest percent of these inventions, ideas that were created and stolen from people of color.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so the best thing you can do is really educate. And as far as this music, man, listen, don't let nobody tell you what you have to offer isn't good enough, because all of us are a part of the wheel that continuously keeps this wheel moving.
Right.
We all have a role. We all have a part. That's why I said I'm not the best at anything.
Right.
I'm one of the lucky
So you say
ones.
I'm not mad at anyone for doing what they
No, but I'm not the best at anything. I am lucky to be a part, and I'm thankful that I'm a part of this.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And that what I have to contribute was something that was felt by the local hip-hop community was a necessity to have or to be a part of.
Yeah,
and that's more so than anything, because you got a lot of talented people out here, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got a lot of talented people out there, man. You know, a lot of really, really good beat makers and producers, a lot of good male and female artists of all colors.
Yeah.
Of all color.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, man, look, I'm not an original Seattleite.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And even Seattleites know that. So, but I'm, just from my point of view, man, like Seattle is, I'm glad you in Seattle. You know what I mean? And just to have heavy hitters.
I have been lucky to have come across some of the most talented artists and have had worked with some of the most talented, underrated artists in this city. But that's a part of that 7% only being black.
Yeah.
Because they are not going to get
just do
their attention that they deserve. I had a talk with somebody that talked about, Ben, that talked about Macklemore.
Yeah.
And I said, I got nothing bad to say about him. Well, I know you have an opinion. I said, of course I have an opinion. But it's not going to make a difference, because when that moment was there, it was lost. Because when the whole world was looking at him and what was going on in Seattle, he had the opportunity. He had the opportunity to open the doors for the rest of the world to see how much talent is really here.
Right. I mean, that's what brought me here.
And so they said, well, if that's the way you feel, I said, well, that's the difference between what Eminem did and what he did. Eminem put out the Slim Shady album. And then after the Slim Shady album, the next album was D12.
Yeah.
He made it very clear off the muscle, regardless of what they did with their career, still, if it wasn't for them, I would have never gotten the shine that I got. So this is how I pay them back, by shedding light on these guys.
And he did give it to him.
And he gave it to them.
Yep.
Regardless of what direction their career went, that's on them.
Right.
I have nothing bad to say about them. They put out some great music, but that was the opportunity that Ben or Macklemore
took advantage of. Right.
That he had, and it didn't happen.
Right.
So this is why I don't get in these
so it didn't happen. So
I don't get in these conversations. I don't get in these conversations.
I mean,
because a lot of people, the first thing I could say is, well, I'm not going to say who did he put on, who did he expose? And I don't mean during tours. I mean when the whole world was looking at him, he had the opportunity to have features or to introduce and to do this, and it never happened. Especially where now it's a digital world and a visual world. because we all know music videos change the course.
Yeah.
Change the course of
a project, a song,
of
right.
a song.
Right.
And so you had the opportunity to verbally and physically expose all this
but
talent.
You know, I will say the town. He mentioned some names that brought me up here wondering. Like, I mean, it left me with the impression that Seattle got some local legends.
Okay. I don't give a fuck what you say. What you do says everything. What you say
What
means
they say,
nothing.
Believe what they do.
Believe what they do,
Right.
and take a look at what really didn't happen. Like any of the shows.
I mean, I do wonder why I ain't seen
Okay.
him at Washington Hall at least once yet.
I've seen him there. I've seen him
Recently.
there. Not recently, but listen to me very carefully. Anytime that I've done, shout out to my girl Caprice, who originally started the first Ready Ron Beats takeover. It was, really a birthday thing that she did. But whenever something happens, I always make sure that I'm very unselfish and that I pull artists from different circles
Right.
so that we all share a moment, because what you do matters the most. It can't be one sound all night. I don't care if you're emo, thug, happy rapper,
Right. Pop.
it's
Poppy.
whatever.
Right.
It's whatever
Conscious.
works. Conscious.
Right.
You have to be able to be unselfish and remember that they all deserve the same attention.
Right. And that's why for my platform, I don't just people be like, yeah, it's a hip hop magazine. No, it's not a hip hop magazine. I interview. I did the interview with the people with the bagpipes.
Right.
I did the flugelhorn. Billy Coates with the flugelhorn.
Right.
And I just mix it up. Add that diversity.
I try to make it my business, except for the last one. It was to shed light on the 5 main artists that I'm specifically working with right now. That was the last one.
Okay.
But even shout out to Julie C. I did Folk Life, and the first thing I did was I reached out, and it was all different.
Right.
I pulled in. I asked for help from RLS. I asked from help from members of Black Magic Noise. Because RLS is a talented MC, but he's also a great singer, and it's almost as if it's an R&B-ish folk type sound that's kind of bananas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I pulled in Wish Baby. I mean, let's even talk about the one I did for my birthday, the big one, where I Rainier Avenue Radio was there.
Okay.
It was a big thing, man,
Yeah.
and it sold out. And I didn't even charge as much as I should have. I only charged $5 and donated what was left after paying the venue to Nikita's Creative Justice Program.
Nice. Heavy.
But there were different circles and different styles and
Those
different
moments.
sounds. That's what I'm saying. And it was that moment that everybody shared. Everybody was doing a different style of hip hop, but everybody enjoyed each other.
Right.
They
Everyone
enjoyed
got
each
their
other's.
time to-
Everybody, that's right. The crowd didn't act funny toward nobody's performance.
Right. And see that's exactly what I came up here looking for. That's exactly what I thought it was like up here.
This is why, shout out to Mojo Barnes and shout out to my girl. Finally, I took that big step and said I'm gonna go all in with whoever rides with me, and we created Takeover Music Collective. I have my own company now.
Okay, so that's
It's not much. It's not much.
Hey, it's everything. When
I'm
you
not
start
blowing smoke up nobody's ass, giving you this long B-rated bad guy movie monologue how I'm going to take over the industry.
Right.
No, I'm just going to contribute more to the machine that keeps it moving. You know what I mean? And I really mean that, because I chose Takeover because now everything that I do, it's a Ready Raw takeover.
Right.
It's a Ready Raw Beats takeover. So I'm like,
I know it's shutting
fuck
it down.
it.
Y'all know what time that is.
Fuck it. Yeah, I
know what
might
that
as well
means.
go with that.
Right.
And instead of saying music company or entertainment company, I said music collective.
So we gonna see a debut album finally, or a solo album?
By who?
By you, Ready Raw?
Nah,
Why
I'm
not?
good. I'm good.
Why, man? Come on, you starving us.
Here's the deal, man. That's the unselfish thing. I had my moment, and if I feature on somebody's track, that's fine. I'm really not interested, honestly.
In a solo album,
I'm not
even
interested.
though what it might do for the next.
I'm really not interested. I'm more concerned about being the bigger picture. The bigger picture.
Yeah.
If I get shine on one of the verses I drop, that's beautiful. That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't want to be up front like that. Once in a while, it's nice to get out there. You know what I mean? And show them that the boogeyman still exists. With the mic.
Right. You know what I mean?
But that's not what it's about for me.
Right.
It's about being a team player. And a lot of people nowadays can't do that.
Right.
Now, if the opportunity arises, if something miraculously happens and a door opens up for who I'm working with, that means the door opens up for everybody who I'm working with. And that was always the way it worked.
Yeah.
It was always we, not me.
Right.
And so in order to be a team player, you have to wait your time. It's no big deal to me because I had my moment, and I'm very thankful for that. I'm just thankful for still being an essential part that keeps it moving.
Yeah. See, you know, it's that gratitude. See, that gratitude is really what I can pull from. We can all pull from.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Keeping a thankful attitude.
You know, I know that if my teammate wins, we all win.
Right. You want the 2 points, you want the assist. Right?
We all win.
Right.
We all win. If I can't make the shot, I'm going to pass the ball.
Right.
Especially if he's got the shot. Because in the end, we all walk away with championship rings. We walk away champions.
Period.
And see, this is what ends up happening and becomes a problem because it becomes such a selfish thing.
Yeah.
And this is, this is what made things happen. Mm-hmm. Look at the Wu Manual. Look at how No Limit did it. Look at how even as far back as the Juice Crew All-Stars or anybody that was a part of a small organization. Yeah. When you won, everybody won.
Right.
Everybody won.
Right.
And that was, that was it was cool because you just didn't create that. You created a small movement. Just like what's happening with Black Umbrella. Mm-hmm. That's a movement. And so it doesn't merely focus on Raz. It focuses on Fatal, Gab, and whoever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And see, and that's the whole idea. Because if something happens, let's just say God blesses Gab with a #1 hit, right? Mm-hmm. And she has the opportunity. The team's coming.
Right.
Let's just
for either
say,
one of them.
Let's just say I'll use Jamel Moxie, okay? One of the cats I produced the project Groove Elements.
Okay.
Let's just say because he's more of an R&B-ish kind of guy, but his bars are impeccable, and he sings his ass off. So let's just say it hits. So what happens next?
The whole collective.
The whole collective. The whole collective. So when they want shows, they get a full roster.
Right,
they get a
off
full.
top.
We have our own opening acts.
Oh wow, full roster off top.
We have our own opening acts.
So you produce R&B as well?
A little bit.
Okay, that's heavy. That's
a little bit.
That's
a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
I did a couple of tracks for Fallon Sierra and Mama Nikki.
Nice.
And Fallon went with one of them that she called Charlotte's Web, and it's on her prior project. Mama Nikki, she sings and does hip hop too, but she's a prolific poet.
Right.
She did We All Rising Up, and that's my brother there. Jamel Moxie, if I played something after this interview, I'm gonna play something.
Yeah,
and then then you'll understand that I was like, regardless of what direction they've gone at that moment, I was the perfect fit for that moment. I was the perfect producer for that moment.
Right.
Yeah, for that project.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, man. So look, man, we really could talk all day, man. But I'm gonna go ahead.
Very much so.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I said it was gonna be an hour. You was like, look, I would keep it short.
But I'm gonna answer your questions
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
I just got one question.
Okay.
So we talked about you, you know, having your little pitfalls and, you know, incarceration, drugs and stuff like that. I just wanted to ask, how was a day in the life of, you know what I'm saying, Ready Ron today? What does the schedule look like today for you?
1% of my alcoholism and my drug addiction was the mood and mind altering chemical. The other 99% was the behavior. Once I stopped drinking and getting high, I had to learn to live completely all over again.
Right.
So I took different steps. Even though my recovery was done behind enemy lines, because even leaving the shelter, I was running into some of the same people,
Yeah.
you know, that I was
influences.
getting high with. But my focus was clear. I'd had enough. I'd had enough. There's always a bigger picture with me.
Right.
It's always unselfish. And every day I'm thinking about how we can win.
Right.
This isn't just about me. This isn't just about me. It's how we can win. And what more can I do in the community to be a part of the solution, whether it be volunteering at the food bank, whether it be volunteering with the Beyond Project, whether it's helping my friend Marvin Futrell, who is one of the driving forces behind the tiny houses that are being built,
Right.
or helping Nikita with her class, or that's what it's about for me.
Yeah.
It's about the big picture, because I know at some point the baton has to be passed. I am not a child.
Yeah.
I'm a grown-ass man, and it's my responsibility to pass information on to the youth. And that's what it's about for me, whether it be through music, you know, whether it be community-based.
Right.
I'm always trying to, you know what I mean? I mean, even shout out Danielle Griffin and Percy, you know, because they work with the organics. They're up at Cafe Red every Monday putting organic food baskets together
Oh,
to
nice.
feed the homeless.
Heavy.
You know, or people who are going through a rough time during, you know, the pandemic.
Right, right.
So you giving back to the community.
100%. 100%. Because there was a few people in the community that when I started taking these steps to better myself, they rode with me.
Right.
They rode with me. So it's only fair. This is why even in the program, the self-help group, I have 2 sponsees that I sponsor. You know what I mean? Because
Nice.
what works for one individual won't work for the next.
Yeah.
So, you know what
I
I
kind
mean?
of see it as paying it forward. You know what I mean? That's called paying it forward. And when-
100%.
You know, when you pay it forward, then it actually moves. The machine actually moves.
100%.
Instead of just, oh yeah, I owe you, let me give it back.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, you
Taking
have the
initiative,
attitude of
yeah.
paying it forward. So,
Yeah.
you know, a friend once told me, like, oh, look, he's a free slave. Because I would do anything that he needed me to do because it was about what we were trying to accomplish in that moment. You know what I mean?
Let me give you a perfect example of being a part of the solution. My wife's a nurse. During the pandemic, she has been putting ridiculous and retarded hours when people were backing down and bowing out. There's a photographer and a videographer named Rachel. She calls herself Little Puma. She's kind of in bad health. She has lupus and a few other physical, you know, issues that are going on, but her intentions are sincere. They found a mass that they removed in her abdomen area, and after releasing her, there was an open wound that had to be constantly taken care of. And where she went for them to do the wound care did a shit job. She had no idea she was being kidnapped. I told her to come by the house. She drove all the way from Pewalla, and I said, make sure you bring your youngest daughter with her. She stayed with us for 5 days. My wife was going in, working 10 and 12-hour days, and still coming home.
She was being kidnapped.
We kidnapped her. We kidnapped her.
Right.
Not literally,
Well, right, but we're going to come.
but she stayed with us for 5 days. My wife did all the wound care because it had to be changed twice a day.
So she knew, you know, you gonna get the care here.
100%. And that's how I live my life on a daily basis. And it doesn't necessarily be like, there's a lot of guys, right, that, because thank you, Jay Battle. Shout out Jay Battle and DJ Niebuhr for sharpening my engineering skills. Shout out Mark Hoy Music, sharpening, you know what I'm saying, my engineering skills. And so there are times where people are in a financial situation and they need help. And they'll say, listen, I need to record this. I'm in a bad position right now. My last words is, okay, how long? Well, what do you mean? How long is it going to take for you to get here? Another really talented female artist, Keisha Beard. She put a post out. She put a post out. I think it was last year or a year before that. That she had the opportunity to do a video with somebody, but she was in a financial situation and couldn't pay for studio time. And I said, I see you when you get here. We recorded it. It wasn't even my beat. We recorded it. I mixed it. I mastered it. She did the video, and just recently, not too long ago, she did a post saying, this is how community works together. This is what happened. This is what happened. Needed a place. Ronald Wilson didn't hesitate to tell me to come. He recorded me. We got the video done, blah, blah, blah. See, sometimes you just got to
That shit just gave me the chills.
See, sometimes you just got to do the right thing. You got to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Because of what the big picture is.
Now, that's
the
what
big picture is.
That's being the solution when it matters the
about
most.
money.
When it really
No,
matters.
because right now, if I'm in a bad situation, I know who I can call for help. And it doesn't necessarily mean financial help.
Right,
And even if it's a situation like this, I'm a real
Service.
motherfucker, man. If I'm behind in something and need help, I'll reach out and say, listen, this is what's up. I'm in a bind, blah, blah, blah. Well, how much do you need? I don't need shit. I'm going to give you the account number for whether it be the
Phone
lights,
bill,
the gas, or this.
Right.
And that's what I need taken care of.
No, I need my phone bill, but let me hold 100
Because that's being sincere.
Right, exactly. Integrity, man. Integrity, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
That's
but yeah,
being
man, we're gonna
sincere.
go ahead and wrap it up. Ready, Ron Beats, man. It's been great having you on the
I
block.
really appreciate
know what
you
I'm
guys
saying?
taking the time
Yes,
out,
sir.
man. I do have something to say, though.
Okay.
Don't let anybody tell you out there that what you have isn't good enough or it's not something that contributes to this music genre.
Right.
Yeah.
Period.
No doubt.
Also, don't let, because the odds are against you, let you... Don't believe that you're not capable of maneuvering through a city of snakes.
You've got mail.
Period. Because there are a lot of them out here.
Yeah.
There are a lot of them, and they really mean you no good. Just keep your integrity in place, work real hard, and don't focus on just being a local hero. Open your mind up, because now this is the top music genre in the world. So what you need to start doing is reaching out and exploring this genre in other countries, so that you see the impact and how well received what you have to offer can be.
Good word.
Real talk.
Yes, sir.
Real
All
talk.
right, Ready, Ron. That's what it is, man. I want to thank y'all for coming through, or thank you for coming through.
Oh yeah.
And you know what I mean? We'll have you back on, you know what I'm saying, in a minute. But it's Wilson Block 100 Radio. I'm your host, Mr. Wilson. And until next time, we out.